Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 1 of November 2004, paper 4024 for O-level math. Now with that being said, let's move on to questions. So here we have question number 1. So find the value of A. First one here we have 28 divided by this. So the first step is I like to actually break this down. So what is 3 half? That will be 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2. So right now we have what? Right now we have 28 divided by 7 over 2. Now, as you guys know, we do not like to work with divide, so we change this to multiply. This is the same thing, and this we have to flip this upside down. Now, as we can see, we can simplify. 7 goes into here, will be 4, and 4 times 2, that will be 8. Answer, part A will be 8. Okay? Now for this one, we have 0.3 multiplied by 0.02. So the first step, as we have seen many times before, is to first ignore the decimal place. So first do this times this. So 3 times 2 is 6. And here we have 1 decimal place, and here we have 2 decimal place. So in total we have 3 decimal places. So we count 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so your answer will be 0.006. Okay, and this is question number 1. Let's move on to question number 2. So here we have to express this as a decimal. So let's try to see what can we do. So we have 13 over 40. Now let's try, we have to try one by one. So let's say, usually even I don't know the answer. I always try to see what can I do and play with the denominator so we can divide and see what can happen. For example here, so what I like to do is I like to change the base. I can like to make this become 10, become 100, become 1000. So it makes it easier to simplify the fraction. For example, here what I can do first is I can divide by 4. You will have 10. Divided by 4, you will have what? 13 divided by 4. Let's see. Let me do this here itself. That will be 4. That will be 3 times 4. That is 12. So 1 remaining. That will be 4 again, that will be 2 remaining, and that should be 5. So that will be 3.25 over 10. So your answer will be 0.325. Okay, so that is your answer for part A, will be 0.325. So the main idea is to convert the base to a 10, to a 100, to a 1000, so we can easily divide the fraction and give you a decimal place. So here I divide by 4, you have 10. Divide by 4, you will have 3.25, you will have this, and then you will have this as your answer. So that's a technique that we can use to find the answer for part A. Now for part B, a rope is cut into 2 pieces. So we have 2 pieces, which is 3 to 2. Okay. Now the longer piece, so this piece, longer piece is 9.6 meters long. Okay. Now we have to find the length of the shorter piece. So pretty easy. So as you can see, 3 represents 9.6, so we want to find 2. So before we find 2, we have to find 1. So what does 1 represent? 1 will be 9.6 divided by 3. From here, we can conclude that 2 has to be 9.6 over 3 times 2. So simplify. So divide by 3, that will be 1, that will be 3. And here you will have 0.2 times 2, that will be, so 2 times 3 is 4, and 3 times 2 is 6. That will be 6.4 for the length of the shorter piece, using the ratios given to you. That is your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. A rectangular block of wood has dimensions 24, 9, and 7. Okay. It is cut up into children's brick. This is the brick that we have from this big wood. Now part 1, find the largest number of bricks that can be cut from the block. So as you can see, we have to find the largest number of bricks. Okay, and then we have to find the volume of the wood that is left over. So this is easy. So let's find the first one. So how would you find the largest number of bricks that we can cut from the wood? Now we can count. Let's say, for example, we know the height has to be 3. Here we have 7, so we can only have 3 and 3. if that makes sense, because we only have until 6, right? Because this is the height, we can have 1 and then 2 on top, right? And then here it is 24, since the length is 3, we can have 8, because 24 divided by 3, that will be it. So we can have 1, 2, keep going on, you can have 8 blocks on this side. So on this side you can have 8 blocks. On the height you can have 2 blocks, right? Now how about the length? Lengthwise it is 9, so we can have 9 divided by 3, that will be 3 blocks, so 3. So let's do the math. So that will be, we have 8 times 3, that will be 24, times 2, that will be 48. So 8 times 3, 24 times 2, that will be 48. So we can have 48 bricks from this. So just by counting and by observation, using the shape given to you, we can find that answer. Now for part B, we have to find the volume of the wood that is left, so pretty easy. To find the volume left, we have to find the initial volume minus the volume removed. So let's do that. Initial volume was what? Was the volume of the whole thing, that was 7 times this times this, so 7 times 9 times 24. And then minus volume of the removed, that will be 48 blocks, times the volume of one of them, that will be 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so let's see how can you simplify this. So we can do this one by one. I think there must be an easier way as well, but this is the more logical way of doing this question. So this is 9 here, so 3 times 3, so it's 27, not 9. So let's simplify. How can we do the multiplication? So first, 7 times 9 is 63 times 24 minus 48 times 27. Now let's solve each of them to see what can we do. Now again, this is the more logical way of solving the question. There's an easier way as well. It's just by using the diagram to find the answer. Now let's try to solve this. Now let me find some space somewhere. I'll do this over here, for example. So here we have 63, 24. Multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. That will go away. That will be 6, 12. That will be 2, 1, 5, 1. Okay. Next one we have 48 times 27. That will be 56. 7, that will be 28 plus 5 is what? 28 plus 5. That will be what? 8 plus 5 is 13, 33. 8 times 2 is 16. That will be 9. So plus 1, 9. That will be 6. That will be 9. And that will be 12. Now we have to find the difference to find the answer. So we have 1, 5, 1, 2 minus 1, 2, 9, 6. That will be what? Here we have 0. That will be 10. 10 minus 6 will be 4 plus 2. That should be 6. That will be 4, 10. 10 minus 9 will be 1. And that will be 2. So your answer will be 216 for your answer of the remaining volume that we have from the big rectangular cube. And that will be your question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So we have to calculate 8 over 5 of this, so pretty easy. So 5 over 8. 5 over 8 of 14. So let's solve. We can divide by, let's try dividing by 2. Have 4 here, divide by 2. You will have 7 here. Then we can multiply. 5 times 7 is 35. Divide by 4. Now you can, I think we have to simplify in that case. Let's see, what can we do? Divide by 4. That will be 0 here. So 4 times 8. That will be 32. That will be 3 here remaining. Then 4 times 7. That will be 28. 2 here and 5. So the answer will be 8.75. That is definitely one way of simplifying that, and you have to provide your answer in terms of decimal, because as you can see here, we have decimal place here. Now for part 2, express the ratio of 400 meters to 3 km in the simplest form. Okay, so let's see. We have 400 meters against 3 km. Now obviously before that we have to convert. So what do we know? We know that 1 km is equal to 1000 meters. So let's replace. You have 400 m and that will be 3000 m. Now simplify. This will go away. This will go away. And this will go away. Divide by 2, you will have 2. And here we have 15. So 2 to 15 will be the answer for part B. That is your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. The diagram is taken from an advertisement of a car manufacturer, okay? And it claims to show that the number of car produced has doubled between this and this. So explain why it might be misleading. So one of the reasons why is because we cannot see really that the numbers have doubled. We just see the size, so we may think that only the size have increased and not the numbers have doubled. So they would be better off to use a bar chart or a graph in this case. So this is not the right way of representing this information. But again, you guys will not be tested on this question, so you guys don't have to worry about this. But I also provided you with the explanation. As you can see, it is hard to understand what's happening here, right? Usually when you look at these numbers, you can see this is just the size increasing from small to big, so we don't really know what this means. It just became bigger, right? And here the number as well could be misleading. Is that just a number increase from this to this? So we're not too sure what does that mean, right? So those are 2 reasons why it will be a misleading advertisement. Now let's move on to question number 6. So Kim pays a bill of 52.45 with a $100 note. How much change she should receive? So pretty easy. That'll be 100 minus 52.45. So this is of course this. Simplify, that will be 99 and that will be 100. So 100 minus 45, that should be 55. 9 minus 2 is 7 and that is 4. So the answer will be 47.55. Okay, now for part B, Ali invests 2,500 at an annual rate of 6% simple interest. After 8 months, he withdraws all the money. How much does he receive? So pretty easy. As you can see here, we are looking at the simple interest, right? So we know the formula for this one. The amount has to be the principal plus the interest. Now we have to know I is equal to PRT. Right, so replace. The principal was this one. This is the investment. So 2,500 plus P, 2,500. And the rate was 6%, so 6 over 100. Times the time. The time is supposed to be in years. But now since we have 8 months, so 8 convert to years will be 8 divided by 12. I hope that makes sense because we say the time is supposed to be in years because it is an annual rate, right? Now because it is 8 months, so how do you represent 8 months in terms of years? You have to divide by 12 to make it become a year. So that's why we do this. Now simplify. So let's see, what do we have? So divide by 6, 1, 2, 1, that will be 4. Okay, so you have 25. Simplify here, 0, 0 goes away. You have 25 times 4, that will be 25 plus 100, and that will be 2600. For your answer for part B of question 6. Now question number 7. In the diagram we have ABC is a triangle in which AB equal to BC. So these two are the same, right? Okay, fair enough. Now we have the point D is on AC, produced, okay, right here, and then we have DE is parallel to CD. So DE is same direction as CD. Okay, let's see what do we need to find. So here we have BCD is 108, so this is 108. Okay, and what else do we need to know? So part 1, we have to find the angle x. So pretty easy. If you observe here, because this two are parallel and these two, they are angle across each other, so we know they have to add up to 180. So that will give you what? Let's see. So x will be 180 minus 108, and that will be 710 72. So part 1, 72 degrees. Now for part B, we have to find the value of y. So where's y? Y is right here. Now we understand that if this is y, this also has to be y, because these two are the same, right? Now if this is 108, this has to be 72, because this is a straight line. This thing will be 180. Now these two will be the remaining angles, so we have y here as well. So 2y has to be 108, so y has to be 108 divided by 2. That will be 54. Now for the last one, find the angle z. Angle z will be this one, so pretty easy as well, because this is 54. If you observe, this is a straight line, so everything will be 180, so z has to be 180 minus 54. That will be 7, 10, 6, and 2, 1. So 126 will be the answer. And this is your question number 7. Okay, so let's move on to question number 8. So we have to express this as a percentage. So here we have this. So let's rewrite this in terms of a fraction. That will be what? Okay, we don't need to actually. So because we just need to multiply by 100 to convert this to a percentage. That will be 1, 2, that will be 6.8%. That is the first one. Now part B. A painting was bought for $12, sold some years later for $138. Find the percentage profit. So pretty easy. So selling price minus the cost over the cost times 100 for the percentage profit. So what is this 138 minus 12? That will be 6, 2, 1, right? So 126 over 12 times 100. So let's try to simplify. Divide by 6, you will have 2. That will be 2, 1. So here we have 21 divided by 2 times 100. That will be 1 here. Have 0.5. So that will be 10. So we have 10.5 times 100. So that will give you what? So we have to move 2 decimal place. So 1 and 2. So 1 and 2. So the answer will be 50% for the percentage profit for that painting. Let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to write down correct to the nearest integer the value of this. So this question is not tough, it's just that we have to look at this from experience as well. So what is the closest number to this that you know has a square root? So we have to think. Think. You will see that it will be 900. So that will be 30 for your answer. So the nearest integer will be 30. Sorry, not 300, 30. Now let's move on to part B. Now this is one way of doing that obviously, but now there's other ways of doing this question. You can always break this down into pieces by finding the prime factors and applying square roots. And small by small, you can see in the end what is the closest integer that is closest to the value. So that is one way of doing that, but there's many other ways as well. Now for part B, in this year, there were this many people living in England. And of these, this much were under the age of 16. Find the number of people who were 16 and over. So pretty easy. We have to take this minus the people who are under the age of 16. Now, because when we do minus for standard form or plus, we have to look at the powers. The powers are different, so we have to make it become the same. So let's send 10 over here, that will be 49 times 10 power 7 minus 9.3 times 10 power 6. This is 6, sorry. Now we can just factorize the 6 outside. That will be 49 minus 9.3, 10 power 6. So 49, 9.3. Let's see what happens. So that will be 8, 10, that should be 7, and that will be 3, 10, that should be 9 and 3. That will be 39.7 times 10 power 6. Now again, your answer will be 3.97 times 10 power 7 for standard form as your answer for part B of this question. Now this is question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. So here we have to find the modulus of Q. Pretty easy. That will be square, that will be 9, and that will be 16. And that will be root of 25, and that should be 5. Now for part B, let's see what do we have. So we have to find this. So pretty easy, replace. 2 times P will be what? 2 times this will be 2 minus 8 minus Q, that will be minus 3, 4. And you will have 2 plus 5 is 2 plus 3 is 5. Minus 8 minus 4, that should be minus 12. So 5 minus 12. Now for part C, we have to, given that P is in the same direction of R, find this. So as we have seen before, whenever a line is in the same direction of the other line, we can form an equation. We can say that P is equal to a multiple of R. So by having this, we can now solve for the value of M. So let's do that. P is what? 1 minus 4. This is a constant. R is M times 2. Simplify. 1 is equal to lambda times M. Minus 4 is lambda times 2. So from this, we can conclude that lambda has to be the value of minus 2. Now here we have, replace right here. So you will have that the value of M has to be 1 divided by minus 2, that will be minus half. Okay, that will be your answer for part 10C. Now for part 11, so here we have two triangles. The first question is to explain if the triangles are similar. So one of the conditions for similarity, we know that if the two triangles are similar, their sides have to be proportional to each other, the corresponding sides. So let's see. What is this value? So if you take this side, the corresponding side here will be, so let's first match them. This side will be corresponding to this side, right? This side will be corresponding to this side. And we have this side will be corresponding to this side. So let's see if their ratio are equal to each other. So let's first check. So here we take 3 over the corresponding side, 4.5. Let's try to turn this into, is it equal to this side or not? So let's say this is 4 over 8. And finally, here we have 6 over 9. But if you check one by one, so 3 over 4.5 is not the same thing as 4 over 8, because 4 over 8 is half. 3 divided by 4.5 is not equal to half. And this is the same as this, but this is not the same as this one. So, pretty easy. The reason will be no, because their corresponding side, you can write the corresponding side are not proportional to each other. That's the reason why it is not similar. Or you can give this example at the end, that 4.5 is not the same as 4 divided by 8. That's the main point we have to prove to show it is not similar. Now for part B, we are given that triangle LMN and PQR are similar. So now we know that they are similar. Let's try to use that to find the value of x. Let's first match their sides. So by observation, you can see that this side has to be corresponding to this side, right? And this side has to be corresponding to this side. And this side has to be corresponding to this side. So given that they are similar, we can form an equation. We can say that if you take 3 here, 3 over 5, you're supposed to get, so here we're trying to find x, so you're supposed to get 4.2 over x. So let's solve for the value of x. So let's divide by 3 on both sides. Let's see what happens. That will be 1. That will be what? So that will be 1 here, 1 here, that should be 4. Okay, then we have to cross multiply. You will have x will be 5 times 1.4. So 5 times 0.4, that will be 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2, that will be 7. X will be 7. Okay, and that will be question number 11. Let's move on to question number 12. So A is a point this, and B is the point this. Okay, so let's find the points of the midpoint of AB. So pretty easy. That will be x1 plus x2. That will be 1. That will be 1 divided by 2. 0 plus 6 divided by 2 will be 3. Midpoint will be half and 3. Now for part B, we have to find the gradient of the line AB. So let's do that. So you use the formula, which is obviously y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That will be 3. That should be 2 as your answer. Now for part C, we have to find the equation of the line, which is in the same direction as AB, but goes through this point. Now given that it is in the same direction, we understand that the gradient of this line is also the same as that of AB, which is 2. Now since we have a passing point of 0, 4, we can find the equation pretty easily. So y minus the corresponding value over x minus this corresponding value will be 2, which is the gradient, and we have to cross multiply to find the answer. So from this you will have y minus 4 has to be 2x, so y has to be 4 plus 2x. Or you can write y equal to 2x plus 4, it's the same thing. Right, that is the answer for part C of question number 12. Now let's move on to question number 13. The value of pi is 3.14 correct to 3SF. Okay. Now in the diagram, the circle center O passes through points A and B. This is 2 points it passes through. Okay, good to know. Now the radius of the circle is 4, okay, which means OA is 4 and OB also has to be 4. Right. Now what's next? So the angle here is 45, and we have to find the area of the minor sector AOB. So pretty easy. We have to find AOB, which is this small area. So this is simple. We can just use the formula to find this, which is what? Which is the angle over 360 times pi r square. So pi r square, that will be what? Pi r square is 4 square. So simplify, that will be 45 over 360 times 16 pi. So let's see, what do we have? So divide by 4, you will have 4 here. You will have 90. Divided by 45 will be 1, 2. 1, 2. The answer will be 2 pi for the area of this one. So 2 pi for the minor sector. Again, to find the area of sector, it is basically the angle over 360 times pi r square. Okay, that's the formula to find the angle of sector. Now, part B, the tangent at A, so it is a tangent, it means it is 90 here. Okay, at A produced meets OB at T. Okay, great. So here we have a tangent. It will meet the line OB at T. So we have to find the area of that region. So how can you find this area? So let's see. So to find the area we have to find the area of the whole thing, if that helps, right? So for you to be able to find this area right here, we have to find the area of the whole thing, and then minus the area of this one. That makes sense. Minus the area of the small one to find this. So the idea behind this is what? Let's see. This area has to be area of triangle. This is a triangle OAT minus sector AOB. Now for this one, we have seen already from part A that it was given to you by 2 pi, right? So now we just have to find the area of triangle OAT. Now, how would you find area of a triangle OAT? Let's see. So let's see. Because this is 90, right? This is 45. We understand that all the angles in the triangle has to be 180. So this has to be 180 minus this, that have to be 45. Now, because these two are 45, this and this have to be the same. This is 4, this also has to be 4. Right. So the area of triangle has to be half times base and times height. So that will be 8 minus 2 pi as your answer. So 8 minus 2 pi will be the area of that region that we need to find. That is question 30. Let's move on to question 14. Now what do we have? Let's see. So we have ABC as subsets of the big set. Okay, good to know. It is given that B is inside of A, right? And then A intersects this is 0. So basically A and C does not meet. So we have to show this in this diagram. So first thing first, let's do this. So here we know, here we have A, which is big, and B will have to be inside of A. And then we know that A does not meet with C. So C will be right here. So C, this is A, and this is B. Okay, so this is part 1 of the question 14. Now part B, in a class of pupils, 20 play tennis, 16 play squash, 7 play both tennis and squash, and 2 plays neither. So of course, let's always try to draw something to help us find the answers that we need to find. So let me use the blue color. So this is the Venn diagram, which represents the universal set, right? So here we have tennis, and here we have squash, for example, S and tennis. Now, it says that 7 plays both, so 7 will be right here, right? 2 plays neither will be outside. 20 plays tennis will be 20 plays tennis, so only tennis will be 20 minus 7, that'll be 23. Sorry, 13, not 23, 13. Now 16 minus 7, that should be 9. Now we have to find the total number of pupils in the class. So we have to add everything together. So 13 plus 7 plus 9 plus 2. This will be 20. That will be 29 plus 2. That should be 31. The answer will be 31 for the total number of pupils in the class. Now for 15. So given that f of x is this, find f of 9. So replace the value of x by 9. That will be 1 over 5, 2 times 9 will be 18, minus 3. That will be 15 over 5, and that should be 3. Here we have to find f inverse of 1. So let's first find f inverse. So let y equal to f of x. That will be 1 over 5, 2x minus 3. That will be 5y, 2x minus 3. So 2x will be 5y plus 3. So x has to be 5y plus 3 over 2. So in the end, we know that f inverse of x have to be 5x plus 3 over 2. So f inverse of 1 has to be 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8 divided by 2, that has to be 4. So that will be 4 here for your answer, and this has to be 3. This is one of the ways of doing this question. That will be question number 15. Okay, let's move on to question number 16. So here we have a graph of speed, time graph. You can see speed here, and here we have the time graph. Now question. So it is the graph for the first 30 seconds of the journey. Part 1. We have to find the speed when time equal to 18. So let's use the graph. 18 will be well. This is so it will be 1. So 2 squared is 1. So 15. So 16, 17, and 18. Will be somewhere over here. So let's find the corresponding value right here. So according to the graph, for me it shows to be about what? 30, 31. So my graph shows to be 31 meters per second. Okay. Now for part B, we have to find the acceleration during the first 10 seconds. So for this part, as you guys know, the gradient of a speed time graph is the acceleration. To find the acceleration, we can simply take the height divided by the base. So let's see. The height here is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is 25. The height is 25, the base is 10, so 25 divided by the base, that will be 2.5 meters per second square for the acceleration. Now the last one will be to find the distance traveled in the 30 seconds. Now as we know, the distance traveled is what? It is the area under graph for the 30 seconds. Now we have to break this down into two parts to find the area. So first part here, we can look at this triangle, right? Triangle. Let's call this number 1. So let's do that. Number 1 is a triangle. Number 1 half times base and times height. That will be 5 right here. That should be 125. Okay, so that will be part 1 for the area. Now for part 2, let's look at this one, this big piece right here. Now to find this big piece, there's many ways. We can always from here go to here. That will be what? A trapezium, right? If you look at this, that will be a trapezium. But now if you want to as well, you can always break this down into a triangle and a rectangle, as you can see. So there's many ways you can do this question. It depends on what you prefer. Now, for example, in this case, let me take the long way. Let me look at this big one as a rectangle and a triangle. That will be number 2. Rectangle will be, the length is what? It is 20. The height is 25. So number 2, that will be length is 20 times height will be 25. That will be 500, right? Because 2 times 25 is 50, times 0 will be this one. Now for the last part, we have, as you can see here, number 3. It is area of a triangle. So half times base and times height. What is the value here? It is 40. So 40 from 25 to 40, that is, the height is 15 and the base is 20. So number 3, half times base, which is 20, and the height is 15. That should be 10 here, 150. So let's add everything together. That will be 500, 125, and 150. That will be 5, 7, and 7. So the answer will be 775 meters for the distance traveled. Now, of course, if you want to look at this as a trapezium, you can always use the formula, which is half times sum of the parallel side, which is, if you look, these two sides are parallel with each other. That will be 25, and this has to be 40. So that will be sum of 40 plus 25, and times the height in between. That will be, the height in between will be this one. That should be 20. Okay, so that will be other way to find the big piece, and plus this one to find the distance traveled for this graph. Now let's move on to question number 17. So here we have to express this value correct to the nearest $1,000. So pretty easy. That will be what? Here we have $29 0.945. So nearest 1,000, that will be 21,000. That makes sense, right? Because we only have two choices. Is it going to be 19,000 or is it going to be 21,000? As you can see, the number right here is more than 5, so it has to be right here. It is closer to 21,000, if that makes sense, right? That will be a part 1 of the question, so 21,000. Now for part 3, express to 3SF. So we have 20945. So we have to express to 3SF. So let's count 1, 2, 3. And then look at this number right here. We ask ourselves if this number is more or equal to 5. The answer is no, so we change everything to 0. That will be 20900. The answer will be 209, and then the rest will become 0 to express this in terms of 3SF. Now for part B, the length of side of a square is 12, correct, to the nearest centimeter. So nearest 1 centimeter. Great. Complete the statement in the answer space below for the smallest and the largest possible values for perimeter of a square. So now again, as you can see, we can draw something to understand what do we have. Here we have a square. Okay. Now, first we have to find the upper bound and lower bound, obviously. So 12, right? That's the first thing to do. And then plus, minus this value here, which is nearest 1 centimeter, and have to write divided by 2. That is the way we do this question. So I would say memorize the way. It is first you write down the value itself, plus minus the nearest, which is 1, then divide by 2. That will give you the upper bound and lower bound. Upper bound will be 12.5, and that will be 11.5. So to find the perimeter will be the distance around, we have to multiply by 4. So 12.5 times 4, that will be 0 here, that will be times 2, so 2 times 4 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10, that will be 0 again, that will be this. So that will be the upper bound, 50. And then for the lower bound, let's see, what do we have? We have 11.5 times 4. That will be 20. So 1 times 4 is 4 plus 2 is 6. And that should be 4. So 46 will be the lower bound. Okay, and that will be your question number 17. Let's move on to question number 18. Here we have a matrix A. Given that the determinant of A is 4x, okay. Part 1, find the value of x. So pretty easy. How do you find the determinant of A? So let's see. That will be, first we have to cross multiply. 7 times x will be 7x minus 6 has to give you the value of 4x. Send this over here, that will be 3x. Have to be 6. So finally, x has to be the value of 2. Value of x will be 2. Now for part 2, we have to find A inverse, so pretty easy. As we guys know, A inverse has to be 1 over determinant times the matrix of adjoint matrix of A, sorry. So this we have already, we have to find this. So let's find that. Adjoint matrix of A, we just have to switch the side of those two. X will go up, so we have 2 here, that will be 7. And change the sign of those two, that will be minus 3 and minus 2. That's how we find the adjoint matrix of A. Now we just replace back in the formula here. You will have 1 over determinant will be 4 times 2, that will be 8, multiplied by adjoint matrix. And this is your answer for question part 2. So let's write this here, 1 over 8, 2 minus 3 minus 2, 7. Now for part B, write down the value of this. So pretty easy, as we know, if A multiplied by 8's inverse, this has to be the identity matrix, and when you multiply by another matrix, the matrix will not change. That's the main idea behind this. That will be minus 3, 1. And that's the reason why it says write down, so because it should be very easy. Now again, it's the same thing as well. If you were to multiply A inverse by A, it will also give you the same thing, right? That is question 18. Okay, let's move on to question 19. A bag contains 3 black and 2 white balls, so 3 black and 2 white balls. Now 2 balls are taken from the bag at random without replacement. Without replacement, that's the condition right here. And then now by drawing a tree diagram, or otherwise, calculate the chance that A, both balls are black. So in this case, let's first begin with a tree diagram. Right, so together we have 5 balls. Now we take 2 balls, let's look at one. So for the first draw, let's see what do we have. So it can either be a black ball or a white ball. The chance of getting a black ball will be 3/5 and then 2/5. That's the beginning. And then following this we have a second draw. Right, so if you have 2 chances again, we can get a black ball or a white ball, or here same thing, black ball or a white ball. So let's see what do we have here. So once we withdraw the first ball, it is without replacement, so you will have remaining ball is 4 balls, if that makes sense. When you take out 1 ball from the 5 balls, for the second draw we have only 4 balls left. Now from here, if you were to take out the black ball from this section, you will have left with 2 black balls and 2 white balls, if that makes sense. So here you will have half and half, because 2/4 is half, 2/4 is half as well, if that makes sense, right? Now same thing here again. If you take out the white ball, you will have 4 balls remaining, and you will have 3 black balls and 1 white ball remaining, because you take out the white. Now you will have 3/4 and 1/4. This is the tree diagram. So in this kind of questions, I would highly recommend drawing something like that to help you find the answers. Now part 1, both balls are black. They will be black and black, so 3/5 times this. So part 1, that will be 3/5 times half. That will be 3/10. Now part 2, at least 1 ball is white. At least 1 is white. So basically it can be what? It can be black, white, or white, black, or even white and white. At least 1 is white, right? So that will be the condition. So let's see. Black and white, that will be 3/5 multiplied by half. O is plus. White is 2/5 times. Black is 3/4. O is plus 2/5 plus 1/4. That will be 3/10. Simplify. 3/10. Simplify again. 1/10. That will be 3 plus 3 plus 1. That will be 7/10 as your answer. So let's write down here. We have 3/10, 7/10, and finally, part 3. What do we have? 2 balls are of the same color. So pretty easy. Part 3, it can be black and black, or white and white. So black will be, according to this black and black. So 3/5 times half. O is plus, white and white 2/5 times 1/4. So let's see, what do we get? That will be 3/10 plus 1/10. That should be 4/10, but simplify, that will be 2/5. So this is your answer for part C of question 19. So let's move on to question number 20. Let's see, what do we have here. Some children were asked how many television programs they had watched on the previous day. Okay, the table shows the results. So the number of programs watched, we can 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the frequency is 793x. Okay, good to know. Now part 1, write down the largest possible value of x given that the mode is 1. Okay, pretty easy. Given the mode is 1, so the mode is 1, so this has to be the maximum. Given that this 9 number here has to be maximum, the largest number of x can be 8. if that makes sense, because we know that 9 has to be the largest number here, so that x can only be 8. It cannot be more than this number or equal to the same number. So the largest will be 8 if that was the condition. Now for part B, write down the largest value of x given that the median is 1. So how would you find median? Usually you have to look at the mid value, for example. So let's see. The median has to be 1 again, so it will be right here. Okay. So basically the idea is that if you were to let's see, that will be 7 plus 9 plus 3 plus x and plus 1 divided by 2. Let's see what do we get. Let's see what's the idea here. So it have to be length between that one. So 7 plus 9 is 16, plus 1, 17, plus 2 is 20. So 20 plus x over 2. That will be what? So that will be 10 plus x over 2 element, if that makes sense. Now, for this element to be given the value of 1, what is the last value that it could be 1, if that makes sense, right? Because here we have 7, so from 7, here we have 9, so 9 will be what? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that's the idea. 7 from the beginning, we just look at this, 7 people. And here we have 9 people, but they also have numbers. The 9 people is right here, right? So for these 9 people, the value will be 1. So we know the value is 1 already. But for the largest value of x, we have to look at the last number right here, the 16th element. So that is the last element it can belong to. So we have 10 plus x over 2 has to be 16th element. So x over 2 has to be 16 minus 10, that should be 6. X has to be 8 again. Just a quick heads up here, I realized I made a very silly mistake. So 2 times 6 is what? It is 12, obviously, so this has to be 12 as your answer. So here you go, this is 12, and it is not 8, so this is 12. This is a very silly mistake. I hope you guys don't do those kind of mistakes in your exam. But however, as you can see, you always have to double check your answers at the end of the exam. So with that being said, let's move on to the next question. Now for part C, let's see what do we have. Calculate the value of x given that the mean is 1. So how do you find mean? It is the sum of everything divided by the number of people, have to be 1. So let's see. So let me find the sum first. So this is sum. Let's find the sum of everyone. That will be, so 7 plus 3 is 10, 19 plus x. Okay, that's the sum of people in the group. Now for this one we have to multiply, right, fx. So let's do that. So mean has to be sum of fx. So 0 times 7 is 0 plus 1 times this will be 9. And here we have 6 plus 3x divided by 19 plus x has to be the value of 1 given to you. Let's solve for the value of x. So first thing first, cross multiply, you will have 15 plus 3x, that will be 19 plus x. Send this over here, that will be 2x, and that will be 4, so x has to be the value of 2. Okay, that will be part 2 of the question. Part C, so that is question number 20. So let's move on to question number 21. So you were asked to investigate the price of a shop should charge for a toy. Now, when the toy is priced at X, the shop sells this many toys. 90 minus X toys. Okay, good to know. Now write down an expression in terms of X for the total amount in dollars received by the shop for the sale of these toys. So pretty easy, as we know that the revenue is the number of toys sold, which is this one, multiplied by the price sold. This will be your answer for the amount received in dollars after selling the number of toys at this price. That makes sense, right? Now for part B, find the value of x if, so here we have, find the value of x. So do we have to draw something here? Let me check. So find the value of x if the amount received is to be as large as possible. You should use the grid or table to help you in your investigation. Marks will be awarded for clear working. So I don't think you guys have this kind of question anymore. Maybe in the past they used to have this kind of question. So let's see, what can we have? For example, you will replace the values here in the table, and you will draw a graph, right? You will draw a graph, and then the value of x to find is what? Again, you have to find the value of x. So x is the price. So you have to find x in the end, so that the amount received will be as large as possible. So what's the idea here? If you were to expand this, let's see. If you were to expand this, you will have what? 90x minus 10x squared. Right. Now, as you can see, this one here is negative. What does that mean? It will be a maximum curve. Right. So the idea here is that you will plot a few points, and you will draw your curve, right? And then when your curve will hit the maximum, right here, you will draw a line to find its corresponding value of x. And that value of x will be the price you will have to write down. Now again, I don't think you guys will have these kind of questions anymore. So I will not be proceeding with this question. It is kind of like tiring to do all these questions, but you get the idea. We have to kind of draw the curve by plotting the points, and then eventually find the corresponding value of the maximum here to find that x value on your graph. That will be your question 21. Let's move on to question number 22. So here we have to factorize this. So let's see how can we do that. We have 3c times d minus 3. And here we have d minus 3. As you can see, these two are the same, right? Here we have 1, right? So we can factorize these two outside. You will have d minus 3. Here you have 3c minus 1 remaining. That will be your answer for part 1. Now for part B, solving this inequality, let's see what do we have. So let's send k out to one side. You will have 4k minus k, that will be 3k. That will be less than 15. So k has to be 5. So here we have to solve the simultaneous equation. So we have two ways of solving those equations. One way is by using substitution, and one way is by using elimination. So let me rewrite this down. We have y equal to 6x minus 4, 3x minus 2y equal to 5. So here we have y already. So here we have y. Replacing this equation, you have 3x minus 2. But what is y? Y is equal to 6x minus 4 is equal to 5. Solve. Minus 12x plus 8, 5. That will be 3 minus 12 will be minus 9x. 5 minus this, so 5 minus 8 should be minus 3. X has to be 1 over 3. Now from this we can conclude that y has to be 6, 1 over 3 minus 4. That will be 2 minus 4 has to be minus 2. So let's write down the first value is d minus 3, 3c minus 1. B has to be k has to be less than 5. X has to be 1 over 3, and y has to be minus 2. Okay, that will be question number 22. Now let's move on to question number 23. Okay, so let me see if you guys still have these kind of questions. I don't think you'll have the same kind anymore. This used to be a classic question in the past. People used to get that a lot, but I guess not anymore. But let's see what is this about. So the graph shows the charges made by two companies for telephone calls lasting up to 10 minutes. Okay, that's the graph given to you, 10 minutes, and the cost you would have for those two companies. Now Kingdom charges 40 cents for calls of 3 minutes or less, and then at a constant rate of 10 cents per minute. Okay, that's the cost charged by this company, King.com. Now we have PhoneShop charges a connection fee of P cents. Okay, and all the costs are charged at a constant rate of Q cents per minute. Okay, pretty easy. So here we have King.com and here we have PhoneShop. This is the graph given to you. Now part 1, using this graph, find the value of what? Part 1, the cost of a 7-minute call using King.com. So pretty easy. 7 minutes will be where? Let's first locate 7. 7 will be right here. 7 is here. So this is King.com, so it should be on the first line. That will be right here. According to the graph, that should be the value of 80. Right. So part 1, 7 minutes, that should be 80 cents according to the graph. Now for part B, find the value of P. What is P? P is a connection fee for PhoneShop. If you look at PhoneShop, PhoneShop is this line. As you can see, it did not start from 0. It is a connection fee of this. This value is, this is 20. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 10. That will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 30, 34. Connection fee will be 34 according to the graph. Now for value of Q, you charge a constant rate of Q cents per minute. So we have to look at the graph. So that will be what? So that will be the gradient of the graph, because as you can see, it is cents per minute. If you find the gradient here, it is the height. The height is cents per minute. So we have to look at the gradient of the line PhoneShop. So let's see. Let's use. We can find 2 points to find the value as well. But let's see what can we use here. Let me use this this point here. Some easy point that I can find on the graph. This point, and let me use. Actually, this one is easier. So this is 4 here. So this is not great. This one is this. Okay, let me use this one. This is this point. And let me find another point that I can use. This is 100. Let's use this one. Why not? So I found 2 points that I can use to find the gradient. For example, okay, let me just do the easiest way, not the gradient. This will be the triangle. Okay, so the height will be what? The height will be, this is 34 here. 60 minus 34, that will be 26, right? So 60 minus 24, 34, that will be 5, 10, 6, and 2. And the base here is what? It is from 4 minutes. So the rate will be the height divided by base, so 26 divided by 4. Now you can simplify, obviously. That will be 0 here, that will be 6, and that will be 0 point. That will be 2.5. 6.5 for your answer. 6.5 cents per minute. This is just the gradient. You can find 2 points and then find y2 minus y1 over, and then over x2 minus x1, exactly, to find the gradient value. Now for part D, we have to find the range of times for which it will be cheaper to use King.com. So pretty easy. You just have to look at the graph again. So as you can see, the graph here for King.com, it is below. So from here until here, it was below our PhoneShop. So in that case, obviously it will be cheaper. So let's find that range. So here it is the value of what? That was 5, that is 1. And here the value again is what? Let's see, that was given to you by, that will be 7.8. So between those 2 times, you can see the graph for King.com is below that of PhoneShop. It means it will be cheaper than that of PhoneShop. between the value of 1 and 7.8. Okay, this is according to my graph. That is question number 23. Let's move on to question number 24. Let's see what do we have. The diagram shows two triangles A and B. Okay, so here we have A and B, right? Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. Let's have a look. Now, as you can see, A to B, the size did not change. The direction did not change. It is just slides or shift to this side. It will be a translation in that case. So, translation with column vector. So let's see. So this point became this point. So we have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 1, 2. So basically, if you move to the left, that will be minus 11, and 2 going up will be positive. So that will be the translation vector. Now for part B, we have a triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the point O. Now draw and label the triangle C. Now there's many ways of doing that question. Again, you can use this to help you, right? The compass. You can do that. So we have the point O is right here, and we can join the point here. Let's see. We can. This is my points, right? This is my points connected with my center, right? And then I know that I will have to perform what? I'll have to do a rotation 90 clockwise, will be in this direction. So you can always go here and measure 90, it's up to you. It should be in this direction. We can just count. It will be somewhere on this line, right? So here we have this point. So if you moved, so 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Should be right here. This is my corresponding point. Same thing for the other ones as well. Same concept. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is my rotation that I got. 90 clockwise should give me something like this. Oh, this is not perfect, but as you can see, you get the idea, though, right? This is the label as my triangle C. If you observe, it was like this. It was two triangles above the line. If I were to rotate 90, I am supposed to look at something like this, which is from the point 4 here, 2 squares. If you look at this, 4 here, 2 squares should be the shape. So it should be fine. 90 clockwise will give you this shape. Now again, if you want to always confirm, you can use the matrix method to find the answer as well, as I have shown you many times before. Now for part C, we have a triangle A is mapped onto a triangle D by this transformation. Draw and label this. So pretty easy. First thing first, we have to understand matrix times object is equal to image. Okay. Now, one thing we could do right now is we could do this, or we could find out what is that transformation. As you know, we always begin with 2 points. This is the point 1, 0, and the point 0, 1. Now for this point to become 0 minus 1, so 0 minus 1 is well. So this is 0 minus 1, this is minus 1, 0. Now for this point to become this point, and for this point to become this point, it has to be what? If you observe, it has to be reflection on this line. So this matrix represents this reflection on the line y equal to minus x. So if you want to find that, you can always do this here. We can draw the line first. For example, there should be something right in between. Here you go. Let's count. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, half, half, 1, 2, 3. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the reflection of the triangle A to find the answer right here. And label this as your triangle D. That is one way of finding that. And then again, if you want to use the matrix, you will do matrix is 0, minus 1, minus 1, 0, times the object, which is the triangle A, which is the points 4, 2. The point here is 5, 2. And here one is 4, 4. So multiply those two, you will get this one as your answer. Let's check. That will be minus 2, minus 2, minus 4. And that should be minus 4, minus 5, and minus 4. So minus 2 minus 4 is what? Minus 2 minus 4 is right here. Minus 2 minus 5 is right here. And minus 4 is right here. As you can see, this is the image of the triangle A after reflecting on the line y equal to minus x. Okay, so that was the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.